You're listening to Trailblazers.fm, an interview-styled podcast that delves deep into bold conversations with successful Black entrepreneurs and leaders. Join us weekly to learn actionable strategies, valuable tactics, and innovative tools that you can put to use immediately on your journey to blazing your trail. And now, here's your host, my husband, Stephen A. Hart.
Hello and good morning. Happy Friday. Thank you all for joining us this morning. My name is Stephen A. Hart. I'm the host of the Trailblazers.fm podcast. This is your first time checking us out. I just want to say thank you so very much for joining us. If you've been a part of our Blazer Nation for a while now, just want to say big ups. We appreciate your continued support as we continue to explore stories of successful Black leaders and entrepreneurs. Don't forget to like the video. Make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell if you're connecting with us over on YouTube. If you're on LinkedIn, be sure that we're connected and you're following me so that you're notified whenever I go live in the future. Now, if you are a small business, you're an entrepreneur, a creative, an author, maybe you're just curious about protecting your brand, you are in the right place at the right time today. Today, our featured guest is Radiance Harris. Radiance is an award-winning trademark attorney, a best-selling author and speaker. As the founder and managing attorney of Radiance IP Law, she helps small and emerging businesses to protect, monetize, and leverage profitable brands with trademarks. She successfully represented startups and multinational corporations across many different industries. Radiance, good morning, my friend, and thank you so much. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Stephen. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. I see a few of our friends hanging out over here on LinkedIn. Good morning, Annette. Good morning, Ralston. Good morning, Greg, over on YouTube. It is awesome to have you all here with us. Radiance, how you doing, girl?
I'm doing great. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
The sun is shining.
The grind, you know, we love to say TGIF says, you know, the Trailblazers grind includes Friday, right?
Yes, it does. It does.
Absolutely. It's been forever. I was thinking about it. It's been forever now since I've seen you in person.
A long time.
I was trying to think of where was the last place I saw you. So Radiance and I initially met through the Maryland Black Chamber of Commerce many moons ago, right?
Many moons.
And so much has changed since then.
So much.
Yeah, I was joking with Radiance. She's a superstar now. So I'm so honored and excited to have this conversation with you. You know, we've been talking about this for so long, but we'll get into some of this today. I'd love to start all our conversations where we always do, from a place of gratitude. And so wanted to ask you right off, you know, what's an unexpected blessing that you're most grateful for in your life right now?
I would say unexpected blessing that I am super grateful for is simplicity. My word of the year this year was to simplify. And there are so many things that you kind of take for granted, just the simple things in your life, the ability to put shea butter on in the morning, or you drink your green tea, or to have your family with you. Like, I feel like over this past year, since we've been in this crazy pandemic, that a lot of us, even in the chaos of like trying to balance family and business, I've had moments of like slowing down because you're not out and about as much as you were before. And so for me, it's about just embracing simplicity. And so that's what I'm grateful for, the simple things.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more there. Sometimes I'm not one to watch TV a whole ton, but you know, I jokingly will enjoy time to just sit on the couch and watch, a show on Netflix or Disney Plus, become like a Star Wars junkie all of a sudden. No, that is.
But that's the thing. You don't have to feel guilty for doing that.
No.
It's something you enjoy. Why not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as I was reading up, more about your backstory, I realized you grew up here in Montgomery County, Maryland, right?
I did.
And played basketball.
I did. Yeah.
Did you ever have dreams of playing pro? Because you played through college, right?
I would say when I was so I had started playing basketball when I was 10 years old. And so I would say like middle school, early high school, like I was like, yeah, all about basketball. And then something clicked, because actually in high school is when I discovered I really wanted to be a lawyer when I grew up.
Nice.
And then for me, it was like just basketball was a way to get there. So when I went to Swarthmore College, I played basketball there. And so just the ability to juggle my athletics and my academics, I think prepared me for law school. So yeah, so I guess I had it at the beginning, ambitions of being like a professional basketball player, but then I was like, nah, I want to be a lawyer instead.
Yeah. Well, we're happy you pursued that passion and that talent, gift that you have. What is it like? I relate being a parent in this pandemic season to, bring your kid to work day 365, right?
For a whole year.
or bring your parent to school 365,
right.
Whichever way you want to look at that. What has it been like being a boy mom in this pandemic?
Oh man, it's craziness. Because my son, he wakes up with like the most energy ever. Like he wakes up on like 110. And so like balancing that, like, it's like, I don't have the energy of a 3-year-old. And so it's just we do a lot of fun activities together. And so I think from at the beginning of the pandemic, we started doing things like baking and stuff, because now that at the time he was 2.5, about to turn 3. And so he started becoming interested in that. So being able to like do activities with him during the day, like such as baking, rock painting was actually a new hobby that we both started doing. So it's been cool, but I would say the challenge has definitely been with doing phone calls and stuff, him popping into your Zoom calls and stuff. But I think it's more accepted now. Yeah. It's more accepted. I think before, maybe a couple years ago, pre-pandemic, when you had your kids in the background making noise or popping in, you kind of like cringe and was like, felt some kind of way about it. But now it's just, that's what life is like right now. So.
And, it's funny you say that. I've been talking with several of my branding students in our course, and people still have this apprehension to video, and I'm like, well, you're in Zoom every day, right? Because we communicate both personally and professionally through Zoom, and I liken Zoom to how Amazon trained us how to shop online. Zoom has taught us how to operate in video. And so what you're talking about is so applicable, right? I've had both kids walk in on meeting calls with our CEO, and I never thought twice about it, right? Where I'd probably have freaked before.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. So, I wanted to get in because you are the trademark boss, right? Radiance authored this amazing book, Trademark Like a Boss, that I just absolutely love, subtitle of which is The Ultimate Step-by-Step Guide to Protecting Your Brand. And it is exactly that. It is a very thorough step-by-step guide. It is not, what I love about this book is, it tells you everything you need to know without the fluff, right? You got into the meat and potatoes, you laid things out. I'm a big person on clarity. If you confuse, you lose. And you do not confuse at all. You made this very easy for us to understand, what we need to know and what we need to do. So, but I wanted to pick your brain just for a bit, and probably, start off with, what is a trademark and how does that relate to terms like IP and copyrights?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. A question I get all the time. So when you hear the term intellectual property, that's the umbrella term that encompasses 4 different types. And so essentially you've got trademarks, which protects your brand. So your business name, your brand name, your product and service names, your logo, event name, podcast name, anything that serves as a source identifier. And what that means is that when people see that name, that logo, you want them to automatically think of you instead of your competitors. So it helps to distinguish your products and services from your competitors. A copyright protects your content. So the content that you create, the podcast recording, video recording, the books that you write, anything that's tangible content, it'd be protected by copyright. And then you have patents, which protect inventions. So any type of inventions that you make. And then lastly, there's trade secrets, which protects anything that's supposed to be kept a secret or proprietary in your business. Secret formulas, business records, business processes would all be considered trade secrets.
Wow. So you touched on this slightly, but who needs a trademark?
Anyone and everyone. If you're offering a product or service, you need a trademark. And why you need a trademark is because it gives you actual legal ownership in that name and that logo that you are using, that brand that you are building in the marketplace. A trademark gives you that actual ownership in that name. So when you don't have that, it'll be very difficult for you to prove ownership, even though you've been using it. And you have very limited protection, which is called common law trademark rights. So what that means is that if you're located, I'm in Maryland, let's say I've had a business for 5 years, even though I have a nationwide reach, I only have common law trademark rights in Maryland. So if someone were to literally steal my business name, my business name is Radiance IP Law, they wanted to start a law firm in New York or Pennsylvania or California, they could, and I wouldn't have any recourse unless I had a U.S. federal trademark registration. So,
wow. So, you know, I hear you saying this, right? And I'm thinking, man, I can't afford, you know, or I don't know how involved this process is. Is this just for, I know you talk about it being for a small business, right? But I have a limited budget. You know, I don't know how involved this process is. Can you talk about the process to getting a trademark done and the cost? How expensive is it?
Yeah. So as a small business, you absolutely should trademark, as I mentioned. And I want you to think about this. So like those big brands that we know and love in the marketplace, the Nikes, the Googles, the Amazons, those were small businesses at one point. But when you actually pull up their trademark records, they filed their trademark before they either launched the business or shortly thereafter. So I'm talking about while they were still building the business from their garage, as in Apple's case, or in their 2-bedroom apartment, as with Spanx, that's when they filed the trademark application. So you do it early in business before you make it big. And so what the process essentially entails is it's not as straightforward as like people think like, oh, when you go file like an LLC or a business entity and like within 5 days you're established.
That's
the trademark process is actually a year long on average.
Wow.
Right. And so usually the very important first step that a lot of people miss is doing a thorough trademark search to make sure that the name, the brand that you're using and building is not infringing on someone else's trademarks. And so once that's confirmed that it's pretty clear, I'm not infringing on someone's trademark, my brand is unique, then you start with the trademark process, which is preparing and filing the trademark application, which it seems easier than it is because there is a strategy involved with it. Like you have to identify specific goods and services or products and services for each trademark. So when you file a trademark, you can't just say, I have protection for everything. You have to actually specify what you are claiming rights in. And so once you do that, then there's like a 4 to 5 month waiting period before the USPTO even looks at your application. So you're kind of just twiddling thumbs. But then once they do, they'll look to see if there's any issues that need to be addressed, meaning the examining attorney at the US Patent and Trademark Office. And if there are, they'll issue what's called an office action. And that is essentially saying, okay, here's an issue you need to fix. Sometimes it can be a really straightforward, small, easy fix. Other times it can be more complicated, like a refusal that requires a legal brief or legal arguments that you have to submit to overcome. And believe it or not, the USPTO, especially in the last year or so, has become increasingly more aggressive in their examination of trademarks. So there's like a 30% success rate of actually getting through without an initial refusal.
Really?
Yeah.
30%.
30%. Yeah. They've been cracking down and issuing refusals like nobody's business. So it's a lot harder now than it used to be. But in any event, assuming you can get around any refusals, then there's a publication period where your trademark application is published in the official Gazette for any third party can oppose it if they feel like they will be harmed by your registration. They can just file an opposition with the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board. And then assuming you get through that, then, you might have to file evidence of use if you filed your trademark application based on intent to use, and then you get registered. So you see there's like a lot of steps involved. And so there are different ways, there are different ways to get trademarked. Some people take the DIY approach, which could be, where you're paying the filing fees, and the current filing fees are $250 per application per trademark class. So you'd be filing, you'd be paying for the filing fees.
So other people per class. So if I have a name, that's one thing. And then if I have a logo, that's another thing.
Yeah, those would be considered separate trademark applications. Wow. But by trademark classes, I mean, so there's 45 different trademark classes in the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office that are basically associated with different products and services. So let's say if you do entertainment services, that's class 41. If you do business related services, that's class 35. And so for each of those classes that you include in your application, you have to pay a filing fee for.
Right.
Yeah.
And guess what, guys? All the classes, all that stuff is right here.
I do. I really break it down in really layman's terms in the book. And I think I do a really good job of not making it a snoozer because, lawyers tend to be snoozers, really boring. And so I wanted it to really catch on and be entertaining and empowering for anyone who's interested in trademarks. And so the other approach, some people decide to do LegalZoom, which with LegalZoom, you could pay $500 or $600 plus the filing fees. But the thing about LegalZoom or anything like LegalZoom is an online document filing system. So when you go and hire them, you're not hiring a lawyer, you're not hiring a law firm. They make that very clear on their website. So they're basically just filing the document based on your instructions.
And it's covering you right here, girl.
Your instructions could be wrong, and they're going to file it based on that. And then lastly, if you hired an attorney, attorneys offer different ranges of packages. So I would say you could expect to pay anywhere between $2,000 and $3,000 plus the filing fees to work with an attorney who would handle the process on your behalf.
And that goes through the entire process?
Yes. That's what we personally, our firm, we personally cover work over the entire process for all-inclusive flat rate. But there are a lot of other attorneys who don't do that. They will just charge you for there's initial flat rate for the application filing and the initial search, but then they're going to pay you out. You're going to be charged hourly for the rest, or you're going to have additional fees, lump fees for each additional thing in the process forward. I don't like to do that. I just like it to be simple, simplify. You know what you're paying for, and then you know what to expect. So
I love it. Yeah. I had a question. You talk a bit about naming your business in the book, and I wanted to maybe pick your brain on why naming is such a priority as it relates to trademarking.
Naming is super important because there is definitely a conflict between trademark attorneys and marketers. Like marketers tell you to choose a name that describes what you are doing. Trademark attorneys say trademark attorneys say, no, don't do that because it's very hard to protect that as a trademark. And so, the best types of names are those that are essentially made up of invented words. So think about those really strong brands in the marketplace like Google, Kleenex, Adidas, Puma, like made up words. And so when you automatically see or think of those brands, you automatically identify with who the source is. There's no confusion. And then the next level of like the strongest types of names are basically when you use a word in the English dictionary and apply it to something completely unrelated. So like Camel for cigarettes or Apple for computers, completely unrelated. So the name matters because it'll determine whether or not that's something that you can actually protect with a trademark. and then actually exclude others from using. Because that's the whole point of a trademark, is the ability to exclude others from using it, particularly your competitors, but also to make it easier for your competitors to find your products and services.
Right. That's great. That's great gems right there. Is there any data? You know, we are all about exploring successful Black professionals like yourself, but also empowering and providing that knowledge to Black entrepreneurs and leaders.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, as you know, since publishing the book and, you know, getting out there, is there any data, or have you seen anything to support that Black-owned businesses and the Black business community is either ahead or behind on trademarking and protecting their IP?
Black businesses are definitely behind. It's definitely an afterthought. It's not one of, you know, the initial things that people do. But what I will say, and I haven't found any, and I've been searching for like hard evidence of like, what are the statistics say? I haven't found any actual statistics. I just know that firsthand from over a decade of doing this, that this is IP protection, particularly trademark protection, is an area that is lacking for Black businesses. I think it's just a matter of a lack of education of the importance and value, or just thinking, oh, let me just give it to LegalZoom and I just get something, but not really understanding the magnitude of like what this means and like how it can actually make your business more money by protecting it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're in the DMV and you touched on, you know, the protection of a trademark nationwide, but can you help anyone nationwide, or are you restricted to serving people just here in the DMV?
Yes, I can help people nationwide as well as worldwide if they want and need protection in the United States. Yes.
That's interesting. That's a good thing to know.
Yeah.
So if you're wherever you're tuning in from and watching this content, you can definitely reach out to Radiance. How can our listeners learn more about you, connect with you, most importantly, probably get this process started?
Yes, absolutely. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with you there. Also, Instagram at Radiance Harris ESQ. You can also check out our website, which is www.radianceiplaw.com, to learn more about our services and check out our all-inclusive flat rate package. And you can also purchase my book, Trademark Like a Boss, there as well.
Yes, make sure you get the book, guys. A couple last questions. We talk a lot about the book. Make sure everybody gets the book. Yes. Any other good books that you've read or you're reading right now that you think we should add to our queue?
Yes, I'm a big fan. Like my favorite like business books, Profit First is one of those. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur starting out, definitely read that book. It's about talking about the importance of paying yourself. So definitely get that book. Another good one that I really liked was Chillpreneur by Denise. I forget her last name, but it's a great book. And why I like it, it's about finding that balance, or basically creating a business that is in line with your lifestyle instead of allowing the business to dictate your lifestyle.
Ah, wow.
Yeah.
I'll check those out for sure.
Yeah.
Radiance, one last question for you. What's one action that or Blaze Nation should take this week that's going to help them to blaze their trail?
Protect your brand. If you have not secured any trademarks for your brand or business, that will definitely up level your business. So I would encourage you to do so and look into it.
Yes, yes. Radiance, thank you so very much for rocking with us and dropping all these amazing gems. I hope everyone watching over on YouTube and LinkedIn picked up a ton of knowledge here. If you didn't, go back and listen to this from the beginning on the replay. Radiance, blessed to have you here, my sister.
Thank you so much, Stephen. This was awesome.
Absolutely. Take care.
Take care.
Thanks for spending time with us today. If we aren't yet connected, let's keep the conversation going on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. Now, we grow when you subscribe, share, and invite others to check us out. We believe that others who consume these stories will be moved to make significant changes that have generational impact for many others, both now and well into the future. Blaze Nation, go out today and keep blazing your trail.